So we talked about the effects of sugar addiction, and we talked about how long it takes for the mood to stabilize after quitting. Now let's talk about why sugar cravings feel emotional. Why do cravings feel emotional? It's not physical. Sugar craving feels emotional because it is emotional. Sugar hijacks three systems at once. This is crazy. Yeah, hijacks. So the dopamine, the reward and motivation. Sugar triggers dopamine. We talked about that. Harder than most food. The brain learns that stress leads to stress. When you're stressed out, you need sugar, and then you feel relieved, right? So later, when you feel bored, lonely, overwhelmed, tired, or anxious, the brain doesn't ask for calories; it asks for relief. So the brain doesn't know. Like I learned this a long time ago. Like when you have cravings, when you crave a particular item, there's your body and your brain are having a conversation when you have cravings, right? Because first of all, if you're craving, that doesn't mean you're hungry. So like that's a difference. So that ought to tell you something. That ought to be a red flag for yourself, right? But when you're craving, the body is saying, "Hey, I'm deficient in this, or I'm deficient, or I need this particular trigger. I'm missing a trigger," right? Craving, because that's what a craving is. Craving is pretty much like an addiction. Pretty much, it's your body saying, "Hey, we haven't had our fix," right? And then your brain is saying, "Oh, well, the last time I felt this way, I had this particular food. So let's say a chocolate bar, right? Well, the last time I felt this way, I had this particular bag of chips." So now you're saying, so now your conscious brain is saying, "Oh, I'm craving this bag of chips," when your body is saying, "Hey, I haven't had this dopamine fix, and the last time you remember having that dopamine fix was when you ate that particular food." So that's pretty much how cravings work. So it hijacks the dopamine system. Your brain doesn't ask for calories; it asks for relief. So that's why cravings feel urgent and emotional. Cortisol, the stress hormone. Sugar temporarily lowers stress, but afterward, cortisol rebounds higher. So if you were stressed out and you eat comfort food, you're gonna be more stressed out afterwards. That's fucked up. This creates a loop. You're stressed out, you eat sugar, you crash, and you're more stressed and more sugar. This is how the addiction cycle begins, or this is how the addiction cycle perpetuates. That's not hunger, that's stress regulation dependency. Comfort eating is the devil. So it hijacks three systems. So we talked about the dopamine system, the cortisol system, and then the serotonin system. So you have the happy hormone, the stress hormone, and then the love hormone. So sugar temporarily boosts serotonin. So long-term use reduces your natural production. So people think they're in love, they fall in love with the food. Instead of falling in love with people, they fall in love with the food. This is crazy. So when you stop, mood dips, you feel off, and you feel emotionally flat. So when you're not eating sugar, this is what happens. So this is why that's withdrawal and not reality. So yeah, so sugar addiction hijacks those three systems. So this is why sugar addictions feel emotional, because you have you have happiness, stress, and love out of whack and imbalance just because of sugar. Happiness, stress, and love, and this can ruin your life. This can ruin your life. Crazy.